Picture this. A Tesla line goes silent. Robots still. Lights still on. But nothing moves. Not because demand collapsed. Not because the tech failed. Because one tiny metal didn't show up. This is the kind of shortage you don't see on a chart until the conveyor belt becomes a museum exhibit today. And here's the twist. It's not lithium. It's not nickel. It's silver. The end of Tesla? Not as a headline for drama, as a stress test for reality. Because in 2026, silver stopped behaving like a commodity and started behaving like a strategic resource. When that happens, the rules change. Availability beats price, and delivery beats promises. The China shock, what changed on January 1st, 2026? Why Tesla is uniquely exposed to a silver bottleneck. The evidence board, prices, deficits, and premiums. Musk's emergency warning, and why that one sentence matters. The only 3 ways Tesla can fight back. Let's go. The China shock. On January 1st, 2026, China moved silver into a tighter export licensing regime. Reuters reported that 44 companies were approved to export silver for 2026-2027. That sounds like a footnote until you understand what it does. It creates gatekeepers. It turns global supply into conditional supply. And it turns every manufacturer outside that gate into a price taker and a schedule taker. This is the OPEC moment for silver. Not because silver is oil, but because concentration creates leverage. If most refining capacity sits behind a licensing door, the rest of the world feels it fast. And the biggest change isn't even the number. It's the friction. More paperwork, more approvals, more delays. In a just-in-time world, friction is a tax you pay in downtime. Why Tesla is vulnerable. Tesla's core superpower is speed, fast design cycles, fast production ramps, and just-in-time materials management. That model works when inputs flow like water. It breaks when one input becomes rationed like oxygen. Silver is the best electrical conductor on Earth, and EVs are not cars anymore. They're rolling power systems. Silver shows up in battery management systems, high-current connectors, power electronics, relays, fuses, sensors, and charging interfaces. Even the charging ecosystem pulls silver into the story. Contact points, switching, control boards. Now, the number everyone argues about. How much silver is in an EV? Major industry summaries commonly estimate battery electric vehicles use roughly 25-50 grams of silver per vehicle. That's about 0.8 to 1.6 troy ounces. Exact loadings vary by model and design, but the direction is the point. EVs use more silver than older vehicles. Small amount, right? Now scale it. If you're producing around 2 million vehicles a year, you're talking millions of ounces of silver demand. And that demand isn't optional. You can redesign a battery chemistry. You can substitute a cathode. But if you try to substitute away from silver in high-performance contacts, you usually pay the price in heat, loss, and reliability. So the vulnerability isn't cost. The vulnerability is continuity. And yes, cost still hurts. When silver moves from the $30 zone to near $100, the bill rises. In an EV price war environment, every unexpected cost lands directly on margin. That's how a tiny metal turns into a giant problem. The evidence board, why this feels like a resource war. Let's pin the facts to the wall. Price. In January 2026, silver traded just shy of $100, with record prints reported around 99 plus. Deficit. The silver market has been running structural deficits, with industry commentary often citing roughly 200 million ounces of deficit in recent years and multiple consecutive years of tightness. Premium. Reports through late 2025 into January 2026 described China's physical market trading above Western benchmarks, commonly cited around $5 to $10 per ounce, and sometimes more. Gatekeepers. 44 approved exporters for 2026-2027. That's the choke point. Here's the key idea. Price is the loud signal. Premium is the honest signal. A premium is what buyers pay when they need the metal now. It's what shows up when paper supply exists. But deliverable supply is scarce. For a consumer, a higher silver price is annoying. For a factory, a missing shipment is existential. Because Tesla doesn't ship almost cars. A gigafactory doesn't run at 80% capacity gracefully. It runs until it can't. And then the whole system starts eating itself. Over time, rescheduling, expediting, penalty clauses, supplier fights, and margin bleed. The competition for ounces. Here's why this isn't just an EV story. Silver demand is being pulled from multiple directions at once: solar panels, power grids, data centers, industrial electronics, medical devices, and high-reliability aerospace components. When demand stacks like that, manufacturers stop thinking in dollars and start thinking in allotments. So imagine the procurement email nobody wants to read. Shipment delayed, allocation reduced, next window uncertain. That's the real nightmare, not the chart. And once allocation begins, you get a second-order effect. Companies with stronger contracts get metal, and everyone else gets later. Later is where production targets go to die. Musk's emergency warning. In late December 2025, Elon Musk posted a short line that mattered more than it looked. This is not good. Silver is needed in many industrial processes. That is not a marketing tweet. That's a CEO reading the supply chain tea leaves. Because if you're Tesla, you've lived this movie before. In 2021, semiconductors became the bottleneck and the world learned a painful lesson. You can't print your way out of a physical shortage, and you can't optimize your way out of a missing component. Silver is worse in one key way. There's no easy functional substitute at the same performance and durability. Copper is great, but it oxidizes and behaves differently at contacts. Aluminum is lighter, but not equivalent. Silver is used where engineers need the highest conductivity with stable performance. So when Musk says, "This is not good," translate it like this. If delivery tightens, production plans become guesses. And in manufacturing, guesses are expensive. Is this really the end of Tesla? Here's the honest answer. Tesla isn't going to vanish, but Tesla's profit model can get squeezed, and its growth story can get slowed. Not by competitors, but by chemistry and logistics. Think of it like this. Tesla can win the software war and still lose the materials war, because factories don't run on ambition, they run on atoms. If silver becomes allocated, the conversation changes from what's the spot price to what's the lead time to who gets priority. The three countermoves. So what can Tesla do? Move. 1. Thrift and redesign. Use less silver per vehicle through better architecture, smaller contact areas, improved coatings, smarter power routing. This helps, but it takes time, validation, and doesn't erase the need. Move 2. Lock supply. Long-term contracts, prepayment deals, strategic stockpiles, tighter supplier relationships. In a rationed world, spot buying becomes a losing strategy. You don't want to be the buyer begging for ounces on a Tuesday. Move 3. Go upstream. Invest in mining, refining, recycling, and closed-loop recovery. Recycling is the fastest lever because it's already above ground, but even then, scale is hard. And here's the uncomfortable part. New mines are slow. Industry estimates often cite many years to permit and build, so buying a mine isn't a quick fix. It's a decade-scale insurance policy. That leads to the real question. If silver is becoming a gate-kept industrial input, will Tesla behave like a car company or like a resource company with wheels? If you track Tesla, don't stare at the spot price alone. Watch. Regional physical premiums versus benchmarks. Reported delivery times for bars, granules, and industrial paste. Any rise in material cost language in earnings calls. Mentions of redesign, thrifting, or alternative contact materials. Recycling partnerships and long-term offtake contracts. Those are the breadcrumbs that tell you whether this is a headline or a constraint. So, is this the end of Tesla? No. But it may be the end of the old assumption that supply chains are automatic. 2026 is teaching the world a new rule. The future isn't just about innovation, it's about access. If you want my resource war checklist, the signs that matter, premiums, back orders, delivery times, and contract language, type delivery in the comments. And remember, when a metal becomes strategic, the price is the headline, but the flow is the story.